feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we had to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. I am so weird and I don't even care. When I was a kid, I would always sing. And I'd get like tears in my eyes, and I wouldn't realize why I was singing. I just wouldn't realize. And years later, I was like, oh my gosh, you're singing because that is how you channel. That's how you channel. Now, I always do these lives on the 888 Wealth Codes group, the Facebook group. But today I felt called to jump in here and offer value to my beautiful YouTube community. This is literally the first time I've ever just live streamed on YouTube, me, myself, and I, not double whamming into the 888 Wealth Codes. And the time is so random. It's like in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I'm working today because when you do what you love and you love what you do, you never feel like you work a day in your life. And I literally went for a beach walk this morning, and then I jumped on a few calls for people that are really excited to come to my Bali retreat in October, which is so exciting. We actually, if you are around in October, we do still have a few spots left, but they are filling up fast. We've actually got two of the incredible guests that are coming that are having birthdays. We've got two birthdays on this Bali retreat, like absolutely wild. I can't even believe that this is happening. It's so crazy. So the energetics of money. I actually did a event this week on the energetics of money. I was speaking at Cafe Coach here in Bali, and we went deep with all of the things about energy of money. And what I am going to do today is go for a little mini masterclass so that you can feel like the money's flowing, everything's coming in, things are moving really beautifully. If you're new here, you've never met me before, this is the first time you're seeing my face, I am pretty much I'm a wealth coach for leaders, but my whole thing and what my expertise is in is energy work. I do energy work to release money blockages within people. And I think a lot of my clients come to me because they're so burnt out with the strategy. They're so sick and tired of hustling more. And I fully know, because I was absolutely there. I was hustling for, my goodness, maybe like 8 years on end. I was just hustling. And then I was reading all the textbooks. I was like a personal development junkie. Like, I don't think you could be more of a junkie than I was. I was literally like my old past alcohol and drug addiction. That's what I felt around personal development. I was just like, give me more books, give me more coaching programs, give me more YouTube videos. And I was just ingesting all of it more and more. And then I was like, I am not gaining the momentum, gaining the success in my life that I truly and utterly desire. So what I started to do was I started to realize, and I went through a Saturn return. I actually asked at my event, I was like, who knows what a Saturn return is? And there were actually surprisingly a lot of people that did know what a Saturn return is. And pretty much what it is Saturn does a full revolve around the earth since the day that you were born. Lots of people in our 3D world call them like midlife crisis, or you're going crazy, or everything's changing. And what's really happening is it's shaking things up and going, hey, can you remember that you had amnesia and that you are a soul having a human experience and you are about to go on a really crazy path? So it unleashed my first spiritual awakening, which was absolutely wild. And some spiritual teachers will say that you have second awakenings and whatnot, and we'll go through that in another video. But it unleashed everything. And I started to realize that, oh my gosh, everything's energy. There is so much more than this 3D reality. And then I started to realize that you could actually play with energy to change your life. You could actually play with energy instantaneously and remove money blocks and remove things and pull things. And now I am actually a Kundalini activation facilitator. So I help people activate the life force energy within them. Sometimes when you watch my videos, you may feel like they're deeply activating. You may feel like, oh my gosh, there's a really interesting energy there. You may feel like you're actually a bit more activated. You may actually feel a bit more high vibe. You may actually feel a little bit like this blissful flow, this blissful energy, because your life force energy is this larger than life energy. If you were ever completely unconscious, and I'll completely put my hand up, like I used to be, before I woke up, I was so addicted to drugs. I was so addicted to alcohol. I was so depressed that I went through this really long dark night of the soul trying to find myself. And through constantly trying to, try all of these drugs and things like that, I can tell you right now, from comparison of a life when I was unconscious and 18, that how I feel right now, living a life beyond my wildest dreams, is better than all the drugs I ever took. It's absolutely better than all the drugs that I ever took. It is insane how good your physical body can feel. And when you can actually activate your life force energy, you start to see that money just gets to flow effortlessly because your vibration is naturally higher. So that's what I do with a lot of people. I play around with energy. I get them to remove their money blocks within them because I want you guys to have quick shifts. I want it to be sweet. But the thing that we don't often know, and I know a lot of you, maybe you go to healers or you've seen mediums or things like that, or you've done personal development, maybe you've read a book or you've worked with a coach, and then what happens is you go back and things don't change. And I know that this has definitely happened to me before, where I've invested a lot of money and then things haven't changed. And as I've grown and evolved and been able to navigate the quantum field and understood energy more in its entirety and understood how the physical body works, we have to understand that this is dense. We have this dense physical body that we're working with, which is like our vehicle for this lifetime. So how do we get the vehicle to resonate at the frequency of money so that we can truly have a life that we desire? Well, what happens is we actually put the vehicle, and I don't know why this analogy is channeling through right now, but we put the vehicle into the car wash. Imagine the car wash is putting your vehicle, your human body, into a vessel of $1,000,000. Like it's putting its value up to $1,000,000. So you're putting your car, your vehicle into the car wash, you're getting cleaned, it's getting waxed, it's all these things. And then it comes out, the car is now worth $1,000,000. Your worth is $1,000,000. Now, you can keep going back to the car wash. You can keep up the action of going to the car wash every week and, making sure that you get waxed, you get cleaned, you take care of yourself. Or what most people do is they've had the upgrade in the car wash, they're worth $1,000,000, but then they step back out to reality. They never go back into the car wash again. We're going to use the car wash as a metaphor for changing your thoughts, your feelings, all of the things around you. And then you go back to reality and you get scratched up. You don't wash your vehicle. You don't take care of it. You're constantly going out onto the streets. You're getting scratches on your side. So the vehicle is no longer worth $1,000,000. Now, I use this example because this really is what happens when we do the energy work. We go see a healer and we clear everything, or we sit in an energetic activation that I do with my clients. And then you leave the activation, you go back to old ways of being. So even though you've had this high vibrational taste of life, you've gone into the value of the $1,000,000. You've sat in the timeline of the $1,000,000. You know what it feels like, but you have to calibrate to it by being in frequency with that more times than you're out of it. So the journey is sitting in the car wash for more times than you're out of the car wash. And I hope this metaphor is making sense. My guides sometimes give me really interesting analogies, and I always just channel what comes through. So when we're doing the energy work, we're calibrating to high frequencies. We're unlocking it all in the fifth dimension, in dimensions that are outside this world. But then the job is to calibrate the physical body in the 3D to the dimensional shifts that we've made outside of this. I hope you guys are keeping up with this and this isn't too much of an esoteric concept. If it is, and you're watching this now or on the replay, please write below. I'm here to help you and support you and guide you to a reality above and beyond your wildest dreams. So it is the uncomfortable shifts because the vehicle doesn't want to go sit in the car wash. None of its best friends are in the car wash. None of its old ways of being are in the car wash. You have to let go of everything that you know and every way of thinking before you can even enter the car wash. And then when you enter the car wash and you've been blessed enough to get into that car wash, that $1,000,000 version of you, you don't want to give it up for the old life. You don't want to keep going back to the old life. You want to sit in the car wash and then go to a better car wash and a better car wash and a better car wash because you constantly upgrade. The version of me that was broke and homeless and poor and didn't have anything was the version of me that was drinking alcohol, was doing drugs, was around toxic people, was having really, really, really low vibrational ways of being. The version of me now that lives in Bali in a freaking $1 million mansion, that lives her dream life, that has money flow as effortlessly as air, looks after her health because I know that health is wealth. Things that I do, and I always say use discernment, take it or leave it. It's not about me telling you exactly what to do. It's about you going, wow, to make more money is about more health. So things I do today that literally upgrade my frequency and make me make more money, make me more magnetic to more money, is peptides. I inject peptides every day. I go to a spine appointment twice a week where they literally crack my back and help my spine and move every part of my body to be more flexible so that I can expand my energetic capacity, because your physical body reflects your outside world. So energetically, a lot of people will, hey Josh, how are you? A lot of people will struggle with holding more. So you have to think about it like this: the $1 million version of yourself can do 10 times the amount that you're doing right now and can hold it. What stresses you out right now would not stress out the $1 million version of yourself. And so it's an energetic game to be able to expand your capacity to hold more so that you're looking at a life effortlessly, because the $1 million version of yourself has to hold hundreds of clients. And if holding hundreds of clients and getting hundreds of emails every single day stresses you out, you're not at the level of consciousness you need to be at to hold the dream business, to hold the dream life. And so it's constantly about expanding your consciousness. And so this is why I go to these appointments, because they're stretching out my physical body. It's actually helping me expand to the next level. I don't put anything in my body that's not of a high vibration. And it's really interesting to see that how we do one thing is how we do everything. If you are constantly, and this is really, really important, and we'll go through this in a tick. This will literally be like the holy grail of what will help you make insane amounts of money and money flow as effortlessly as air, really, really, really beautifully, that you don't even care. But before we do that, I want you just to be mindful of this one concept, and this one concept's really, really, really important. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Who you are every single day matters. The most important thing that I have within me, the most important resource I have, is my energy. My energy is insanely expensive, and I'm not going to share it or give it or spread it around people that I know that it's not going to add value to their life. And because of that, I pick and choose. Like, I will do things when I feel the call to do things. Like, it's literally 2 p.m. in Bali on a Saturday afternoon. I just felt called to do a live on YouTube. So I do it because I told my business that I was going to turn up for it today. And that's what I felt intuitively called to do. But I wouldn't have things in my business that didn't feel aligned, because I'm not a slave to my business. My business supports me. Everything takes care of me. And I'm in the feminine energy, which is flowing, and I have the structure to hold it. So really looking at your life, looking at your standards. So if I was to be sloppy with my health, with my weight, with who I am as a person, that would reflect to money. And you might go, oh, well, Eva, there's really fat people that have a lot of money, and that's fine. But I can tell you that they're not actually wealthy, because wealth is health. If you're making millions of dollars, but you're tired, you're overworked, you are having health problems, you're not going to be able to keep growing and expanding. So maybe someone looks like they're rich, but they're not going to be able to keep growing and expanding. And this is actually really important. What's actually more important than money is this, and so many people forget this. If you're dead, you can't make money. So your health is actually more important than the money. Your health is wealth. If you're dead, you can't make money. So you need to look after your health more than anything. You need to completely and utterly take your health very, very, very seriously. And if you're not taking your health seriously, you're probably not taking your wealth seriously, and your bank account and all the things. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I just kind of want you guys to reflect on your standards and what your standards are with everything. Your standards are with your health. Your standards are with your skin. Your standards are with your clothes. Like, are you wearing clothes that you've had for 10 years that have holes in them? That's not opulence. That's not $1 million mindset. You have to really look at your life and go and start cleaning it out and go, oh my gosh, what are my standards in friendship? Oh, wow, that person's really toxic and I keep letting them into my life. Why am I having weak boundaries? Why am I not raising my standards? Because when you raise your standards with your friendships, with everything, with your health, with your skin, guess what happens? Naturally, subconsciously, you raise your standards with money. Money's not going to come to you in a really poor form if your standards everywhere in your life are higher, if you've got incredible friends that are doing well, if you've got amazing skin, if you've got amazing clothes, if you take care of everything in your life, you look after your house, your standards are high, therefore you manifest more money, more abundance, more of everything. So let's go into the holy grail of how to make money and how you can actually like do this work right now to start making money instantaneously. Because honestly, when you make these energetic shifts, things change really, really quickly. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard of masculine and feminine energy. Now, I went through this in my masterclass when I was speaking at Cafe Coach here in Bali the other day. And something that was a gold mine for me with money, like absolute gold mine that I didn't even realize, because what I teach is really understanding the quantum field, understanding the energetics of the universe so that we can truly live a life beyond our wildest dreams and more. But on the 3D plane, one of the universal laws is the law of gender, which means that we have the yin and the yang. Every single human has in them, and every single thing in this universe has masculine and feminine energy. Naturally, men are going to have more masculine, naturally, women are going to have more feminine, but that's not to say that some people can be different to that. Now, when we're looking at money, I like to, and I always say use discernment, but I really think this is a game changer when it comes to money, receiving money, being able to hold money, because I know a lot of my clients, they'll make big months and then it will just go away. They'll make heaps of money and then it will go away, or they just can't even seem to attract the money. So we have to look at the masculine and the feminine energy. I believe that money's role in this 3D reality is to support us. Now, when we're looking at the masculine and the feminine, well, the masculine role is to support the feminine. The feminine, when she feels safe, can be nurtured and supported and be more free flowing. Women that are really aggressive in their masculine are probably not the most attractive women in society. It's when women feel safe and supported and loved. They are just so powerful, but they know that they don't have to go and hustle and do all the hard things. Since the beginning of time, men were the gatherers, the hunters, the strong ones that would go out and do everything in the physical realm. Women's job was the source of intuition, the ability to create through intuition, and the men would look to the women for intuition. Now, when it comes to money and finances and stability, we need to be in the feminine, in a deeply healthy relationship in our feminine to receive the money. But being supported by money is through the masculine. And so if you have, and this is for men and women, if you have ever had a father wound, so issues with your father when you were a child around money, maybe not feeling safe, maybe you didn't see it in your father between the ages of 0 to 7, but maybe it shows up in other areas of your life. Maybe you had a brother that didn't treat you well. Maybe you watched TV between the ages of 0 and 7 and you saw shows like crime shows that showed that men were horrible and men would go to jail and men would do this. And then your subconscious naturally correlated the masculine energy to being unsafe. Now, this can be a subconscious wound that naturally will stop the flow of money energetically. And so when you look at what is my real relationship with the masculine energy? How potent is this relationship with the masculine energy? Do I need to heal this relationship with the masculine energy? Because when you haven't healed the relationship with the masculine energy that's healthy, you are not going to be able to attract money. Or if you do, your energetic container is going to have holes in it because it's the structure. It's holding the money. It's the stability. And so you want to be able to manifest, attract money, and then actually hold it. And then as you're holding it, you want to be able to keep expanding your energetic capacity to hold more and more and more. You don't want to be someone that goes through life that is constantly losing money. It's falling through your fingers. You're not having a safe, healthy relationship with the masculine energy to be able to hold it, because we need structure. Even though I run most of my business from my feminine energy, my calendar looks like a unicorn has literally vomited all over it. I have structure. And because my father was very, very, very unstable, my father actually took his life when I was 13. And his behavior was always not able to trust him. Like, I would hop into a car and he'd be happy and he had like crazy bipolar, and then he'd get mad at the drop of a hat. So my pattern with money was to manifest lots of money and then get rid of it. Manifest it and then get rid of it, because it was like, oh, my dad was there, but then he wasn't safe. And it was just like getting it out. And that's so fine, Josh. Like, I've done a lot of speaking, and thank you so much. I truly receive that and appreciate that. But yeah, it was one of the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful life lessons that helped me become the woman I am today. So thank you. So healing the father wound is such an integral piece, whether you are a man or a woman, to manifesting more money, because naturally, if you feel unsafe around the masculine energy, then money is not safe, because masculine energy is very much tied to the physical plane, and that is what money is tied to. So when we go deep with how do we feel around the father wound? How do we feel around the men in our life? Have we ever created unconscious stories around men not being safe? Because if we've done that, then money's not safe, and we naturally sabotage it all the time. If we haven't healed the father wound, the money comes in and we will manifest expenses or things like that will just completely give away money and not be able to attract it into our lives. So knowing how to use the masculine and the feminine energy to our power is literally the holy grail. It's the gold mine. And if you have mother wounds as well, that's going to hinder the flow, because if you have issues with the mother, maybe you are not in the receptive mode. Maybe you always feel like you've got to do everything yourself and you're not receiving. And imagine you with the relationship with money. Imagine money's a person and you're like, I've always got to do everything. And it's just like really, really, really toxic and aggressive. So that's a really, really, really key piece to manifesting more money in your life. Another really, 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 really key piece is actually just taking the time to look at money as a person. Really, truly looking at, if money is a person, how am I actually treating money? What's my relationship with money? Because I know a lot of my clients, before they come and find me, the number one issue that they usually have around money is that they treat it so poorly. They have anxiety, they have wounds, they don't even want to pay bills. They don't even want to look at bills. So imagine money's a person, money's standing there. You can imagine money as this little innocent child. Every time you get a bill, you're like, get away from me, get away from me. I don't want to be near you. Get away. I have anxiety. My gosh, get away from me. I can't look at you. This is how most of society interact with the energy of money. And it's so hindering and crippling, because this energy is just here to support you. And imagine this cute little innocent child called money, or however you want to see it, just going, please let me help you. Please let me play with you. Please let me support you. And you're just like, you're giving me anxiety. Go away. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to pay these bills. Instead of cultivating a healthy relationship with money, which is, thank you so much for the electricity bill. Like, thank you so much for the electricity in my house. Thank you so much for everything that I have in my reality. Thank you so much for the gardener and the food that I get to eat. Thank you so much for the cleaning products that make my house clean. Like, when you start to cultivate a beautiful relationship, because you realize that your inner reality is what's reflecting the outer reality. And so it is about radical responsibility. It is absolutely about accepting that you have created everything in your life. And this is really, really important. I don't know if you guys have heard of the law of polarity. The law of polarity is one of like the gold mines when I'm telling it to my clients, because they just start having these big aha moments and they're like, oh, I understand why the money hasn't come. And it's really this simple. Law of polarity. Everything in the universe is one pole. This is broke, this is rich. If you reject being broke, you reject being rich. So you push money away as a whole. So you have to start doing the inner work by loving being broke, by accepting it, by receiving everything in your life. So if you can look at your life right now in this moment and not wish that it's anything other than what it is. If you have 20 cents in your bank balance and you can love that. If you have $1 million in your bank balance and you can love that. Whatever your life looks like right now, the only way it's going to change is by you accepting that you've created all of it. And it's all perfect and there's nothing wrong with it. And life is just truly a mirror to show you what's going on inside of you. That's all life is. They say life is images of the mind expressed. And we'll go, oh, but I'm not thinking this. And I'm like, you have to remember that you're having 60,000 thoughts every single day. And if I was to tell you to write out every single one of your 60,000 thoughts, you'd be like, I don't know what they are. Because most of these thoughts are subconscious. And so guess what shows you what your 60,000 thoughts are without you actually needing to think what the 60,000 thoughts are? Your life, your bank account, your friends, the people that come up, the people that you meet, the people that you see. They say that everyone manifests things based on a wound, based on a trauma, based on something. So you can actually see, like, I met a guy I started dating a few weeks ago, and there was something that was just a little bit off. And I was like, okay, this does not feel in integrity with me. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And when I sat and I meditated with it and I was truly present, I was like, we manifested each other because of the need to be validated. And then I opened up that room in my psyche and I sat with it because I felt like I'd done a lot of inner work around that. And sometimes the inner work's a little bit like an onion and we're constantly peeling the layers and the layers and the layers. And I was like, oh my gosh, the wound of validation again. And so I just spent time looking in the mirror, loving myself, backing myself, and doing even more deeper inner work so that I could evolve past people like that guy who there's nothing wrong with him. I was so grateful that I got to meet him so I could see in the mirror that I had to heal validation on a deeper level. And when you can start seeing life as your internal world reflected on the big screen, you realize the only way to change life is by going internally, is by doing the inner work, is by sitting with the inner work and truly and utterly knowing that when you change your inner world, your outer world changes. And so this can absolutely happen with money. And 100%, Josh, like same as identity. It is your identity. It's absolutely your identity. When you believe and you know that you are a millionaire now, that everything that you fully desire has already manifested now, you can absolutely have it all now. But we have to get to this energetic place where we believe it, because a lot of people go, well, I'm a millionaire now, and they can't embody it. They can't feel it. And so naturally your 3D energy signature is going to slowly calibrate. And this is what I always say to my clients, and this is the most important thing in the world. Your life is a journey of making the invisible visible. And so when you are standing on the edge of the cliff and you are looking around and you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to go to the next chapter. I need to have the bigger house, the bigger life, the traveling the world. Maybe you want to go live in a cabin in the woods, whatever it is that you desire. It hasn't manifested in the physical. So your brain cannot see it. So for you to manifest something and turn the invisible visible, your mind has to see it. That's why visualization is so powerful, because your mind doesn't know the difference between your visualization and your real reality. But when your soul is pulling you and it's like jump, and your mind is standing there on the edge of the cliff going, but I can't see anything. I can't see anything. And your soul's like, I just know there's so much more out there for you. And your mind is constantly pulling you back and holding you hostage and you're terrified. That is when you jump. That is how you quantum leap. And most people think that it's meant to always be easy. It's meant to be cupcakes and rainbows. But exactly, be it to see it. Be it to see it, Wayne, 100%. And so you absolutely have to constantly back yourself. You absolutely have to know that it's coming, even though your brain cannot see it. And you have to parent yourself. You've got to be able to get that little child and speak to that little child in that moment where you feel like everything's about to die and it's death to your ego and your mind is freaking out more than ever before, and the mental chit chatter and the monkey mind is going nuts and it's just going crazy, 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 crazy. You have to jump or you'll never change. And that's why most people never change, because it's death to the ego, and that's terrifying. And your ego doesn't want to die and your brain doesn't want to die. But you have to understand, if you are going to live a life beyond your wildest dreams, it's going to be terrifying, because it means death to your mind. But guess what? It's not terrifying to your soul. It's not terrifying to the highest possible timeline. It's not terrifying to your higher self. It's only terrifying to your mind. And so every time it gets scary, jump. Every time it feels like you can't jump, every time it feels like you're completely and utterly stuck and you know that you need to do the thing and everything in you makes you feel like you're paralyzed, jump. If you can start jumping when it scares you the most, if you can start jumping when you know that everything in your mind's like, no, 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 I don't want to do it. And this took me so long to figure out, so many years to get to this point where I was like, I don't understand. My mind is telling me not to do it, but I feel like I should do it. And I felt like I was in this massive war against myself, and I would just fight because I'm a Gemini. So I always overthink, and going through as much trauma as I went through as a child was this constant like, oh my gosh, do I do it? Do I not do it? And then every single story is going to come up, every single thing. You don't have the money. Your family's not going to approve of you. You're never going to be able to get there. It's not going to work. When everything like that comes up, you just hug yourself and you look at that little child within you that is creating all of these stories, and you go, I got you. I have got you. We are going there anyway. We are doing this anyway, and I love you, and I see you, and I know that you're scared, and I know that you are terrified, and I know that you don't want to do this, but we are doing this anyway because I know that one day I'm going to die, and I am choosing to live a life beyond my wildest dreams where nothing is ever what it seems. I am choosing the path that makes no sense. I am choosing a life that terrifies me because I know that that is the life that my soul desires for me. Because every time you jump, you're quantum leaping. And you have to understand that every time it's terrifying and you jump and you quantum leap, that old version of self dies. So of course the mind's going to freak out. Every time you get to that transit portal where you have a choice to make, where you should do something that terrifies you or you don't want to, you are literally on the edge of a timeline, and your mind is just freaking out going, oh my gosh, please don't let this old version of self die. Please don't let me die. I'm not ready to die yet. I want you to keep living this timeline. And you have to go, no, we're jumping, we're leaping, we're quantum leaping. And of course, every time you go through a huge quantum leap, it terrifies your mind because that version of yourself died. It absolutely dies in the quantum. Every time you jump, every single moment up until that point disappears. But our brain that is positioned in this 3D reality, it records everything. It records all the data. People always say, Eva, how do you talk about your past so effortlessly? And it's because my brain has recorded the data, but those versions of me are dead. I am not the version of me. For me to live the life that I live right now, I was never in this timeline, in this reality, I was never the girl that got drunk, that did drugs, that cheated, that lied, that hurt people, that got locked in a jail cell. That was never me, because I've lived a completely different timeline to get to this reality. Now, I know this concept is quite esoteric, and I know a lot of you understand these quantum physics concepts. If you are new to quantum physics, I definitely urge you to go and read a book, but you have to understand the only way to quantum leap is to choose. You choose. And choices that make you quantum leap more than other choices, or the choices that terrify you, because they're not actually terrifying your soul, they're terrifying your mind, because your mind is about to die. That version of you is about to die. In order for you to have a life that you've never had, it's going to cost you the life that you currently live. It's not easy, because death is, oh my gosh, that's coming through right now. Death is something that we don't like as a species, but guess what happens when you start quantum leaping really, really, really fast? And I've done that ever since I moved to Bali 2 years ago. It's been quantum leap, quantum leap, quantum leap. And do you know why I quantum leap so fast? It's because I'm not afraid of death. And when you cannot be afraid of death, you can fully live, because for you to live the life beyond your wildest dreams, it's going to a million funerals of yourself. It's literally going to a million funerals of yourself. That's how you live a life beyond your wildest dreams. So you have to get comfortable with death. You have to fall in love with death. You have to condition your mind to be okay, to let go of its old facets and its old way of being and step into the new. It's constant death and rebirth for you to live a life beyond your wildest dreams, because your frequency has to change. Your frequency has to upgrade. You have to constantly change your vibration. The vibration that you're currently tuning into right now has to dissipate, and you need to step into a new vibration. When you do that, the old vibration of self doesn't exist anymore. It's a bit like Back to the Future, where we have a million trillion different versions of self. Right now, there is a version of you that is a billionaire. Right now, there is a version of you that is poor and homeless and on the street somewhere in a random country. There are a million trillion versions of you, and you can choose whichever one you step into. Now, the ones that you're visualizing are the closest timelines to you. They are the closest possible timelines that you can tune into and quantum leap to quickly. And the universe is going to open up little portals. And for you to jump through the portal and access that timeline, it's going to be a choice that makes you uncomfortable. because the portal that opens up that you can have access to and go through in that moment is going to require you to let go of the past self. And now this is why so many people can't make the decision, and they're too scared to make the decision because they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly make the decision. And because what's happening is that you're not ready to change version of that self. You're not ready to jump through the portal, the timeline and quantum leap, because your mind hasn't calibrated enough to even be available for that new timeline. And what can happen when you're not ready for the timeline, or you haven't done enough inner work, or you haven't got enough beliefs that are holding the new timeline and supporting the new timeline, you almost get stuck in the portal between timelines. And often in spiritual terms, we call this the void, or it can feel a bit like the cosmic womb. And it's like, I don't really know what's happening. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's so beautiful being in the in-between, because you can truly and utterly be found. But it is knowing that there's beliefs that need to go. There's always a being that need to go. And it's actually because our mind's addicted to the pain. It's addicted to things not shifting, things not changing. We become so addicted. Our physical body, the most addictive thing in this physical reality is our emotions. That's the most addictive thing. When people feel anger every day, they're addicted to feeling the anger. It feels good. It gives them something, or you wouldn't keep feeling it. That's what the human condition is. We only do things because it feels good. And people go, oh, well, pain doesn't feel good, but it does in your body because it releases something and it keeps hitting, and giving you that hit that is constantly like the scrolling on the phone, the dopamine hit. It's like you could be going through the most boringest feed, but you keep doing it again and again and again. There could be nothing there. Like the TV, it's like there could be nothing there, and you just keep going. And so it's about going, okay, cool, do you know what? I choose not to be addicted to the pain. I choose not to be addicted to this timeline. I'm going to go to the next timeline. I'm going to manifest more abundance. And then guess what happens when you make the internal shift, and you make the shift and you go right now in this moment? Anyone watching this video right now in this moment, you can make the shift and you just go, hey, I've decided that I'm going to make 10K this month, or 20K, or whatever it is that you desire. I desire that I'm going to bring in more clients. Make the shift internally. Guess what happens? The universe is going to send something your way, a little bit like a test, first and foremost, almost like life is a video game. You're going to get a test, and the test might be like, are you ready for the next timeline or not? It's a test. It's a portal opening. This happened at my event the other night. I did an activation with everyone in the audience, and I said, you're going to get tested after this event. As soon as one of the women left, she was tested by her landlord getting rid of a tenant, and she had to step into her dark feminine energy to really embrace that level of self, because the next timeline version of her would not accept a landlord just going, oh, your tenant's left, and not being professional with it. It's a test of every single version. I love what Josh is saying, like test or a lesson. So you can look at it either way. And I've played with this at different levels of consciousness. You can always look at it like a test or a lesson. At my timeline right now, I like to look at it like a test, because I like to be prepared for the test. And it is definitely both. It's definitely a lesson and or lesson, as you've just said. But it is about realizing that our little 3D minds cannot understand consciousness. They cannot fathom consciousness. Everything in this reality is exactly the same until we put a label on it. And it's really important not to be indifferent to things. The universe doesn't know the difference between $1 and $1 million. It just knows what you have placed more emphasis on. If you've made the $1 million up here and you're down here, of course you can't manifest it. You need to create a reality where you are at the same level, at the same frequency of everything that you desire. So exactly, realizing that you are source, we are God. God has everything and lacks nothing. Prosperity, pro-spirit. I wrote a post on this morning, and it was like, your beliefs can absolutely override universal law. So if you believe that you are not enough, you will manifest not being enough. That overrides universal law. But it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're not in alignment with the universe. You're not completely in soul alignment with the universe, because you are going to feel uncomfortable in your body. if you're feeling like there's not enough money and you're not having the life that you desire, you're out of alignment with the universe. So it feels like tension, it doesn't feel in flow. When you know that you're connected to source and money is available and money flows as effortlessly as air, so beautifully that you don't even care, it feels natural. It feels normal because that belief system is more in alignment with who you are. And really what happens is source energy comes through every single day. It's so beautiful, so aligned. And then it gets filtered through your belief system. And whatever your belief system is, it's either going to feel good in your body or it's going to feel not good in your body. And so knowing when your beliefs are out of alignment with universe is going to be whether you're feeling good or you're not. If you think, oh, I don't have this, all of a sudden your body contracts because that's not truth. And the universe values truth and the universe values authenticity. And so it's important to go, oh, actually, this belief this is out of alignment with universe source, and I desire to flow. I desire to ride the waves of abundance. I desire not to be constricted by them. I am here for infinite abundance, infinite wisdom, overflow, things going my way, money flowing as effortlessly as air, because the healthiest relationship that we all have in our life is air. We don't have stories around it. We don't judge it. We don't go, oh my gosh, I didn't get enough air today. Did you get enough air? How's your air capacity going? How is your lung capacity going? We don't. And so my goal and my mission is to get more people in alignment with wealth consciousness and really just coming away from the slavery of money, because money is just a beautiful energy. It's a shadow of value. We spend so much time focusing on the money, but the truth is you don't care about the money. And wait for it. Money's just a piece of paper or a number on a screen. Money in itself does nothing to you. A piece of paper does nothing to you. It's the value that we tie to it that causes war on the planet, that causes all these insane feelings in our human psyche. But when we can start loving and accepting that all money is in this physical reality is a symbol of wealth. It's a symbol and a way that we can experience wealth. So when we experience the wealth within us, money comes so effortlessly without us worrying about it. Money flows all the time because we see how powerful we are. And when you can know how powerful you are and how incredible you are, the money just never stops flowing. You don't even need to look for it because you're just like, oh my gosh, like I am so powerful. I am so resourceful. I am so supported. Everything's always working out for me. And when you can get into that flow and that state and that rhythm, everything comes. So I hope you guys got so much out of this today. This was so random. Thank you for joining me on my very first ever YouTube live. I always stream in my 88 Wealth Codes group in Facebook. So if you want to come join me, definitely click on the link below in here. But I hope you guys got so much out of this. Let me know what you want to hear more on, what you want to hear less on, where you'd like to go. My whole mission is to serve you and help you unlock the $10,000 plus months so that you start to feel more supported, more in love, more in sync with universal flow. When you start to make money, you realize how easy it is to make money. It really is the most effortless thing in the world to make money. But we've been so conditioned that it's so bad and it's so this. Just honestly, think of the person you love most in your life. And then if you can shape shift the energy, how you feel about that person, and then think about money, the way you think about that person, the money will never stop flowing. Money goes to those that love it. And the only reason it may not be showing up for you in the way that you truly desire, and there's obviously so much gold in this live. So if you're watching at the end, make sure you go back and watch the middle bits, because we go through a lot of the energetic blocks that may be blocking the flow. But when you truly and utterly think about money like the person that you love most in the world, and you can heal and remove any of those blocks, it just keeps coming, it keeps flowing. It's so beautiful, it's so magical. And if you feel called to come work with me, check out any of the links below. But I love you, I see you. And actually, if any of you are near Bali or feel called to come to Bali in October, we do still have a few spots left. So definitely, I don't even know if you can send DMs on YouTube. I don't think you can. But yeah, always just come through. Abundance, blessings, 24/7 miracles, overflow, a life beyond your wildest dreams. So beautiful. It's more than what you could ever seem. And just open your heart, open your mind, start having fun. The more fun you have, the more money you make, the more you dance, the more you play, the more joy you have. And one day you're just going to wake up and realize that your clients are your best friends. The money never stops flowing. You're never going to stop glowing. And yeah, you get to have it all and more. Big love, wealthy old soul. Have a beautiful, powerful, phenomenal day. Mwah. Bye, guys. Bye, Josh. Bye, Wayne.